Okay, if you'd all please rise for the toast this evening, please. The first toast will be delivered by Lieutenant General James Slife. He's the Vice Commander of Special Operations Command. Unfortunately, he's based in D.C., and his responsibility is to liaise with all the government agencies in Department of Defense. He's had extensive assignments in Special Operations Aviation. First toast, Lieutenant General Slife.
Hey, as we look around the room tonight at the host of distinguished intelligence officers and special operators gathered this evening, it feels like we've come to a family reunion with the part of the family that you actually like to be around. As the branches of the OSS family tree come together this evening, it's fitting that one of the honorees of this evening is the matriarch of the clan of the Spear Point. Like all clans, ours share common DNA, common blood, and that silent, steadfast, and selfless service to our great nation. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a toast to the common blood of the clan of the Spear Point, to the United States of America.
Next toast will be Mr. David Cohen. He's the treasurer of the OSS Society and sits on our board of directors. He spent 35 years with the Central Intelligence Agency, the director of National Clandestine Services. Following his service with the agency, he was the Deputy Commissioner for Intelligence with the New York City Police Department. He has now an executive position with Star Companies in New York City. Mr. David Cohen.
This is Commander-in-Chief of the greatest military on the face of the earth. Here's to you. Thank you.
Admiral Eric Olson, who needs very little introduction. United States Navy retired, graduate of the Naval Academy, the 8th Commander of the U.S. Special Operations Command, the first SEAL to attain 3 and 4 stars. He's the past recipient of the Donovan Award in 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Eric Olson.
Ladies and gentlemen, I propose a toast to a force that is still in the thick of it and the thin of it every day and every night, to the United States Special Operations Forces. Yeah.
Mr. Tom Higgins, again member of the OSS Board of Directors, served in National Clandestine Services for 34 years, 10 years as a senior field commander. He has an executive position with First Data in New York City. Mr. Tom Higgins.
The operations conducted by the OSS personify discipline, pragmatism, and daring. Today, the men and women of the intelligence community of the United States embody the very same ideals, and they conduct in a manner which our OSS predecessors would be proud. To the United States intelligence community. Here.
Honorable George Tenet, Director of CIA from 1997 to 2004, serves in financial services in New York City. He's also a distinguished professor in the practice of diplomacy at Georgetown University. Mr. George Tenet.
During the greatest conflict of our times, men and women from all walks of life, religions, ethnicities, and skills banded together to change the course of history. They were the men and women of the OSS. As General Donovan once said, they were never bound by the law of averages. From the fields of France to the jungles of Burma, they took on the most dangerous assignments and carried them out with a rarefied level of excellence, valor, and skill. They saved thousands of Allied lives and shortened the war. Men and women like Dan Pink, Hugh Montgomery, Virginia Hall, and from our own family, Uncle Nick Lakis. They are the glue that binds us all together from Pearl Harbor to 9/11. History matters. All of us who have followed stand on their shoulders to this day. Let's raise our glass to the men and women of OSS. May the heroism and their personal acts of courage of this greatest generation forever be told to inspire all the men and women who will follow in their footsteps.
His Excellency Kari Haas, the Norwegian Ambassador to the United States.
Good evening. I would like to propose a toast to the Allies, or as we say in Norwegian, skål.
That's when everybody can grab, right? Yeah. Lieutenant Colonel Don Mackey, from the United States Army National Guard and the New York Army National Guard. He's the Deputy Commander of the Fighting 69th. Lieutenant Colonel Don Mackey.
Thank you. To the 69th, where I believe General Donovan, then Colonel Donovan, was able to practice the skills in the combat leadership that he brought to develop the OSS. So in our terms, Fa'wa Bala, Gary Owen and Glory to the 69th.
A toaster who needs very little introduction, General David Petraeus, former commander of the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, commander of the United States Central Command, director of Central Intelligence Agency, and the recipient of the Donovan Award. Ladies and gentlemen, General David Petraeus, U.S. Army retired.
I propose a toast to Wild Bill Donovan, an intrepid soldier, a valiant attorney, and a trailblazing spy master. To Wild Bill.
Finally, Colonel Ron Johnson, retired Special Forces Colonel who joined the Central Intelligence Agency and is now assigned to the United States Army United States Special Operations Command. He is the Ambassador Designate as of October 7th to El Salvador. Colonel Johnson.
I'd like to ask everyone for just a few minutes, if you would, to go with me to a darker place, a more somber topic. There are brothers and sisters who are absent tonight. They're not with us, many for a variety of reasons, and among them are the very best of us. Those who survived the horrors of war, only to later depart this life. Those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in war. And those who are absent because tonight, even as we are here at this dinner, they're standing watch over us. Many of them in places that are so hideous that it challenges our imagination to believe the kind of things that they're dealing with. Almost 2 years ago, I lost one of my closest friends who gave his life trying to save another one of our colleagues who had been seriously wounded. For his actions that night, he was awarded the CIA's highest award for valor. But that's not enough. It's not enough. I remember him. We remember those of ours that we have lost. And after our nation's history of wars and 17 years in this latest one, there's probably no one here tonight that hasn't been touched with loss. To say they're absent is not entirely correct. They're here. They're here in our hearts. They're here in our memories and our minds. They're part of our being. They're part of who we are. Their table is here tonight, and although you can't see them, their spirits watch over us. The table is round to show our everlasting concern for them. The plates are white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to duty. The single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the life of each of them and their loved ones and friends, those who kept faith. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, a symbol of our continued determination to account for our missing. On the bread plate, you'll find a slice of lemon. It reminds us of the bitter fate of those captured and missing in foreign lands. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears endured by the missing and their families. The Bible represents the strength gained through faith to sustain those lost from our country, founded as one nation under God. The glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share this evening's toast. The chair is empty. to our absent.